I was sleeping all day.
I was up early.
It's 7 p to 3 a this morning, down in Nashua. Traffic control.
Seems like it's highlighted.
So is anybody else from the budget committee coming, or do you know?
Paul's or, well, right, you were here.
Hi, Judy,
Hi.
nice to meet you.
Other than that, but nobody's told me anything, so.
We don't know.
They all implied that they would be here, except Wendy said she'd be late, 6:30, I think.
Okay.
No, Brian's always late.
Meeting will now come to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So tonight we're going to hear from some department heads on their budgets for next year, and we're also going to hear from Frank Denisenko, who's an assessor. Did I say that right? And he's going to talk to us about taxes. So Frank, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I started this process like January, February. I was curious myself as to how our tax dollars are broken down. And I actually went down cellar and pulled out all my tax bills back to 1994 and put them into the spreadsheet. Okay, and what it shows is some significant things that have happened in town, and I'll be going over that. I was on a budget committee also in Barry, Mass, back in the 80s. I was on it for about 3 years. It too was a town that had no industry, had the highest tax rate in Massachusetts, and people just couldn't even sell their homes if they wanted to move. It was that bad, because they had a similar situation as we have here in town today. So what I did was I looked at the past 22 years. Here is what is on the, I'm going to show you on the graph.
Thank you.
Page 2 is the actual data. Back at the beginning of the year, I had this talk with the superintendent of schools. We had a nice meeting, lasted about 45 minutes. You know, we've got a lot of people who come into town who hold positions that don't know history. And I thought this would be a good exercise. And so she graciously met with me, along with the business manager, and I was showing her significant things that went along with the school, which is the heavy red line here in the graph. Okay? I also hear that, you know, years ago, geez, we could afford to live in town. You know, tax rates were low and what have you. But if you go back here into '94, we had tax rates that were up in the 20s, up in the high 20s. This is when the school district was made up of 5 towns. We were in with Wilton Lineborough also, okay? And it was also before the state started contributing to the school districts.
We were only with Wilton Lineborough, only for the superintendent, not the schools.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mason.
We had
Mason,
Mason.
we said Wilton Lineborough, but that was just a shared supervisory.
Superintendent, administration,
Yeah.
shared administration.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
But then, so we went along, and when the state started contributing some money, of course we were charged for it, down came our tax rates. Okay, all of a sudden we were like $7 for the school, okay, instead of being up here in the 20s. Right here is when when we started our own school district with 3 towns. That's what the first black line is, back in '03. And back then, we got up to about close to $16 as far as the school tax rate went. Of course, you go into deliberative session and down it came. And it stayed that way, and it just climbed for another 5 years, went back up to $17, had another deliberative session, and came back down again. Okay, so I think what was interesting for the superintendent to see was that $17 was a trigger in the past that got people upset with that kind of a rate. Okay, I'm not here tonight to say what we should be doing or not, I'm saying here's some triggers of things that have happened. Okay, so we see the school on a constant, even if you put a line in here, on a constant increase. Now, on the other hand, you take the blue line, which is town expenses. Talk about a flat line as we go along through the years, okay? This line is mainly a blue line that doesn't even account for inflation. What we're showing here on this, I used a website called usinflationcalculator.com. And on here, what I did was to take this area back here when, like here we've got 7, 8, 11, 12, and I've got some others down here. So I arbitrarily picked the number of $10. And that's what I started adding in the inflation, going through and putting in the different years with the same $10 to see what so that green line that's in here, actually, it's really kind of came out as a trend line.
That's a what?
As a trend line, because they were over and above it,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And in the end, it says that $10 back in '99, in 2015, is $14.73. The same $10.
Mm-hmm.
Because of inflation. Okay, but if we look at this, we're at 1858. Okay, so I'm still saying schools are running above inflation. Okay, but if you look at the lower one, in the blue, taking the actual number that was there in 1999, you can see that we've been running town for less, have not even taken into consideration inflation on our dollars. I think we've been beating ourselves up for a lot of years. And I think it's only been in the last couple of years that we're starting to get to a point where we're putting in sufficient dollars to help ourselves out a bit, okay? Over in here, I'm seeing, if you were thinking of the tree, all the low-hanging fruit got picked in the town budget. And as a matter of fact, I mean, when we run a town hall with one full-time person, everybody else is part-time and no benefits, I'd like to see some of that change myself. Okay, I think we should be going in that direction to help out ourselves as town, okay, and give the people that work for us a better satisfaction of the work that they're doing. Okay, so the thing is I look at this and I look at the disparity in expenses. I think the budget committees are always a good thing to have, okay, keep an eye on things. But at the same time, I think we've got to still run town so that we aren't beating ourselves up. That's kind of where I'm coming from. And this here shows how level we've been in town in controlling our costs, not even keeping up with inflation. I mean, you could almost shut down town and you'd only be changing our total tax rate by $5. Okay, so the emphasis should be someplace other than town in helping to control costs. And I know we beat ourselves up because we want the green line, which is our total tax rate, to come down. but we're not gonna bring this down significantly by playing with the blue line.
I have a couple questions. The largest expense by far in town is personnel, other than like a road warrant, okay? So, it would be interesting to me to see what the staffing level was in 1994 and where we added staff, because that creates a spike. So, I'm pretty sure we didn't have, what do we have, 5 police officers? 5 police officers in 1994. So along the way, we added police officers, and yet the costs went down. So that means that there's far less, you call it, in a household, you call it disposable income type of thing, to spend on services and improvements to the town. So it would be interesting to me to see where we've added these staff, because I don't think we had 5 highway guys back then either.
Probably not, but what you need to look at also is the disparity of the town evaluation, because back then, we didn't have 5,100 people either,
Yeah, well, you know.
not even close.
Well, let me just think for a minute. We had, 42?
It's 20%.
So 20% increase.
Yeah.
You know,
I wanna say it was around 42.
Mhm. No, I see where you're coming from. We've increased police. I mean, just for paying for fuel for our departments and stuff has gone up significantly and
Mhm.
stuff.
Health benefits.
And it's not reflected in this blue line.
No?
No, but in all fairness, I think, just so you can know where I stand on the budget committee, that green line up there, we're all really aware of it. And so when we're handed the various budgets for the town departments, we're really looking at them fairly.
Oh, I don't,
but-
go ahead.
What I'm trying to say is, that top line has got to change,
Oh, I agree.
so the bottom line has more wiggle room. Because we don't, and so many people in the town really don't understand that. You know, the school does not have a budget committee, and now the town has one. So, it's gonna take a while to get there, but that green line
No, I agree.
has got to change, so I hope when you were talking to the superintendent, you could express the concerns for the town that we need more room because they're chewing up all the budget.
Well, when I spoke with her, I think it was either that, was it last year that I had a review of their budget with town, how we were looking at cutting $1 million, okay? I think, and that was very concerning to her, of course, but I said, but look, $17 was the trigger point back then. And here you are up here at 18. Okay? That's why you're getting the town is really getting upset about this, because these are the trigger points. I says, if your budget was somewhere, in the $13 or $14 range, I think things would go along a whole lot better, okay? So if you took $4 off of that, you took 4 off of here, and you didn't touch this line at all, the town would be better off. But I don't know how we deliver a quality educational system with only 2 towns. I don't think there's enough income in the 2 towns to properly support a good educational system. I don't know that we try to get another town in, or what, or we at some point in time look to move on to another school system where the costs then are shared over a greater base, which in turn would bring this down. I think there's significant things to look at here, but I can understand the superintendent wanting to give a quality education. And same thing with her. Her big expense is personnel.
Yeah.
You know, so.
She's got a giant bricks and mortar line. I think over half of her budget in absolute dollars is bricks and mortar for the new schools.
Yeah, well, that's one thing that I think.
Of course, that's offset by what the state throws in. So it's if you look at their $19+ million budget, over $10 million is associated with the school. But on the other hand, they get income from the state, so we don't see it in the taxation rate, so.
But I think one thing I'd like to know is of all that capital costs that we put in, what is that dollar figure in this number that brings it up? Because, I mean, we just spent a lot of money with our schools. You know, is it $1? Is it $2? So we can pull that out, because, hey, we all raised our hands and said we'd spend that money. So that doesn't really have anything to do with the running of the school. I think that would have to be looked at as two things, operations and capital. And it's the operations that she really has control over.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the exact numbers when I looked at the budget, but there's a huge offset from the state for, I think Becky probably knows it, but a big offset for putting up those schools. So the town doesn't come good for the entire 10 million or 11 million that it costs to put them up. So, you know, when you look at their budget, it's 19 million plus but the revenue line is pretty big because the state is paying for a lot of schools. The second thing is the superintendent is with the mindset that if she's working at a larger school, so she's got pretty good size pretty good size personnel numbers, and her class sizes are on the tiny size, but trying to convince people the two things are related to quality education. First is the cost. More money is a better education. That's complete trash. And the second thing is smaller class sizes yield a better education. Also completely untrue statistically. But to try to drive those points home at all, even to an educated population, is quite difficult. So that's really the problem for the school. As long as they're riding that wave of more money, more teachers, is better education. It's pretty hard to attack your budget.
So, this is kind of the end of what I wanted to present. I just wanted to show
Oh, thank you, it was very interesting.
what history has been. And, but again, I think we're going in the right direction down here to give a little bit more money into town to help out. Yeah, everybody wants to see this number come down, but.
Do you have any ideas on does anybody have any ideas how to approach the school? Because we had that big meeting a couple of years ago where they tried to reduce it by $1.7 million or some other such number, and lost by 10 votes, I believe. So,
Well, you know, you can form a budget committee for the school district. It's an idea.
well, it is an idea. I brought it up to a few people, and it landed with the basic ordinary thud. So yeah, it's
So
hard
that means
to
they don't mind paying the taxes, I guess.
say again.
I guess they don't mind paying the taxes.
I don't know. You can go round and around on that one.
Yeah,
It's
I think
it's
I think change is coming, possibly.
and the third thing is the educational model used by the school system is right up there with McGuffey's Reader with polish. I mean, they're doing it the same way, stand up, and that they've done since I went to school back in '06. You know, there's virtually no incorporation of automated learning as they've done in virtually all of industry. And actually many of the colleges, including Harvard, have gone to online classes, but that would have a tendency to reduce the teaching load, teaching number of teachers, And considering the school is reluctant to do anything such as reducing staff count, I don't know how far that'll go. They're not gonna face their problems head on unless you hit them in the head with a 16-pounder.
Well, I would hope that
Becky's
If-
idea
if
is
a
a good one, by
committee-
the way.
if a
What's that?
committee,
Becky's idea is a good one.
if a committee were to be formed, I think it would be nice just to go in kind of with an open mind, say, let's lay everything out and educate us, you know, whoever we may be on that budget committee. And say, let's look at something theoretically. You know, what if you didn't have all these things, what would the budget be? You know, to kind of come up with something that is palatable, and then say, okay, then what are we giving up if we went that far? And some of the things may be things we wouldn't want to give up, you know, so, it's not a bad idea. Okay.
I'll stick my favorite 2 cents in for a concept called crowding out, and you may know about crowding out. Crowding out's what happens when on your fixed income, you know, with the rate of inflation now being essentially being zero, and our taxes keep climbing up, so a person's disposable income has a tendency to shrink. So that's called crowding out, and eventually something has to give, and what happens is the prices of homes are reduced to keep the PITI constant. That's what crowding out is, and we see that a lot.
Were you on the budget committee, Frank, when down in Mass, when they came up with solutions to lower their tax rate in Massachusetts?
No.
Okay.
No. As a matter of fact, the school board used to come before us.
Mm-hmm.
It was a combined budget committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could talk to them all day, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
No, didn't change.
Was she?
And the thing was, when we had our meetings back then with them, they didn't even know what they were getting for state funding. But they were asking the town for so much money.
Mhm.
You know, which was totally illogical. You don't know what your total income is.
Yeah, I think our RSAs allow for a combined, but it wouldn't work because they're a district, so it wouldn't work. They would be independent. I'm just thinking out loud.
They were a separate political unit.
Yeah.
You were talking about the school, right, when you said that? But
Well, I was talking about the school, I was on a budget committee in Massachusetts back in the 80s.
yeah, I just wanted to say that schools aren't, their first thing is not about education anyway. Their first and foremost is money. Money, that's the first thing. Then education comes some distance second, if that. We've seen that for how long, so, yeah. As soon as you cut the money, that's when the screaming comes. You cut the education, you don't hear much of anything happen. People keep pretty quiet.
Is the superintendent pretty perceptive too?
Yeah, I thought we had a great meeting,
Good read.
yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you,
Thank
Frank.
you very much,
Thank
Frank.
you.
We have the trustee of trust fund budget review. Is that you, Mr. Meisner?
Yeah.
You're going for the $100.
Do you have that, copies in front of you?
We do.
Okay, well, I'm good.
You good?
Well, you notice that I have successfully reduced my budget substantially,
Yes, I do.
because it's really a function of, in the past, the town was paying the fee to the person that was administering our funds for us, investing our funds for us, and then we passed a warrant article last year that said we could take that, they could deduct it straight from the funds invested rather than have the town write them a check back. And so, instead of $4,500, now it's zero, so. So there's not much left. I mean, I put in $1,244. I mean, if you want to whack something out of that, feel free. There's not a significant amount of savings.
Where are you going for that $100?
Well, we have training every year that's available to us in Concord. That's free, the state puts it on, but travel. Now, I went last year and, but I didn't turn in any travel. I didn't, but I don't wanna lose that line item because, you know, if you zero it, then it's gone.
Well, someone else may,
And we're
May use
down, we're
it.
down a trustee, and then when we recruit one, surely what we wanna do is send them off
It's
to
$55,
training.
$55 round trip.
Yeah, well, you know, could be two of us go.
2 cars, 110.
Yeah.
They're down by that.
So,
So Woody, my question to you is you have a few line items here that you haven't used anything in the last 2 years.
no, we haven't, you know, like the supplies and postage you're talking about, and, no, you know, I assume that if we're going, you know, I put stuff in the mail,
Yep.
and, so there's cost there, but I assumed it would just get something would get allocated to it, and it hasn't. I mean, am I supposed to somehow put an envelope in there to be mailed, you know, or?
It's actual $3.
Magically, Joanne.
Yeah, so your
so we
your
did.
postage shows something, but like your supplies and your travel and your education line items,
Well, you know, the problem.
nothing's come out of it
The
in 2
problem is,
years.
we have, the travel, I mean, it's
Yep.
the
two
biggest
people,
one.
please.
We go, you know, somebody goes every year.
Yep.
And by the grace of, you know, for the benefit of the town, we just don't put anything in for it.
Okay,
But, like I said, I don't wanna lose it because
right.
the next person may not be.
And if
quite-
you're traveling, I hate to see you lose it just because you guys are being nice and not putting your mileage request in.
Well,
so.
that's it. I mean, we go,
You know.
somebody goes, and sometimes
Yep.
2 and even 3 of us in the past have gone.
Yep.
How many members you have? 3?
When we have a full.
When you have a
complement, yeah,
full
3.
board, it's 3 members?
Yeah, yeah, and, we only have 2 right this minute. That's right.
Okay.
So.
Any
yeah.
changes?
I approve the budget as submitted. I'll second it.
All in favor? Okay. We now have, I think, a half an hour before the planning board, budget review.
Is that you?
No, it's Bert. That's Bert.
We have a half an hour before planning board.
I have
Anything else?
I have the library stuff that they gave me tonight, so I'll hand that out, so.
Okay, people can look at it.
You get all the phone about that. Go to Tampa, Frank Boston, Brian Buffalo.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's today's date.
24.
What a trip. He's done good. For a while, she was getting out of the house as a bitch. Two hanging out at the side.
Yeah.
I'm sorry we left that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Unexpected, I guess, more than unexpected.
Who's asked?
Because the yard, Manchester. Needs to write the
Thank you.
law for Susie. That's a week and a half over.
So, she's on the mail?
Yeah, she's doing good, yeah. Yeah, Cambridge next week for a follow-up.
Do we want to recess so that Ron doesn't have to take
Yes,
this?
please. Motion to recess. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're gonna recess until, the planning board member, yeah, they may be here.
Oh, no, the daddy, the town of Cambridge went to one.
Since I can go over.
Anything else we could take care of that save us on the other end?
Just make sure you don't have,
Take the two out, right?
Yeah.
You can do your
I'll
minutes.
do that, I'll do that, I'll do 10.
Okay.
What's that?
Well, if you could save, people could save us any time.
Chairman of the
Yeah,
Department of Surgery, so we get there Friday night.
yeah.
Yeah. So what do you say you wanna do?
All the
The minutes, they can.
Oh,
Trucks
yeah.
are inside the ER, swearing. So we go to, Saturday night at 7:30, we got an interventional procedure for 2 hours. Realize how unusual that is.
Total dollar wise is the number of classes.
You can't micromanage the budget, you just basically have to take a chunk out of it. Of course, you know, drive it back in reverse. This is your new budget, you figure out how to manage to it. Otherwise, you get into a micromanagement loop, and you can never exit a micromanagement loop. You just can't.
Okay, meeting will now come back to order. We have Bert Hamlin here to, talk to us about the planning board.
Yeah, Louise prepared the budget for the planning board. She did provide some justifications for the budget. Typically, the big items here are the training, and I'm going to say honestly, we're asking for 500, which is comparable to what we've asked for in the past. We do have 7 members of the board, plus some alternates, and a typical full set of training costs about $100 per. This year, we only spent $200 because only 2 people signed up. That seems to be typical. We do offer the education to all the members, but not all the members want to take advantage of that training. You know, we are anticipating on the next election cycle, though, we may have some new members who may need some bringing up to speed. But again, we can't force anybody to get smarter, unfortunately. The other big ticket item is the technical assistance for $2,500. We're currently using Kent Brown Engineering. What we're trying to do is substitute engineering at $90 an hour for legal fees at $250 an hour. Comes out of 2 separate budgets, but we'd rather be smarter on the engineering, get a better product in the end, than pay an attorney for advice, which sometimes seems to flip-flop back and forth. We've had some issues with our attorney on that, and we've had some rather dismal successes for a couple of the legal actions that have occurred over the past several years. So we're going to try this year to minimize the legal, stay out of court if we possibly can, particularly one project that has been hanging around for the last 10+ years. And we have a applicant who seems to be sue happy. So we're going to try to engineer our way through this. We're making some progress with the individual. I think maybe, just maybe, we can avoid another round of litigation with this guy by applying our engineering expertise to the particular project, which is why we're going a little bit on the heavier side. And I will say that Kent Brown is offering us probably something, what I would consider about a 25% discount. He's currently charging us $90 an hour. Typically for a senior engineer, should be paying in $120 to $130 an hour. So it's kind of nice that he's offering that, grumbling all the way, of course, but he is offering that currently.
Why is he offering that?
He's been a long time town engineer for the town. He knows the town. He's worked in the town before. He's familiar with our regulations. And in bad times, it is a constant stream of income. So he doesn't want to lose us as a client, but he's not making any money on us as a client. Right now, it's a very busy time for all the engineers and architects. So he's saying, well, I'm going to plan for the future and try to maintain you as a client.
Let him know we have town welfare if he needs it, okay?
Paul?
Could you give an example where the board might use Kent Brown on its own nickel rather than the client's nickel that could help reduce the legal, or the board's legal exposure?
Well, we're actually looking at, as a member of the board, you recall, we had a non-public hearing session where we had both the attorney and Kent come in to give us advice on the best way to address problems on a particular project. And it was a very good meeting. It was a long meeting, but by combining both the legal services and the technical services, we were able to talk in a general way about how a project should progress, rather than trying to say, okay, well, here's the legal stuff, now let me get on the phone with, my engineer and find out what he suggests we should do otherwise. For instance, right now, Mr. Brown is preparing a cost estimate for a particular project for review purposes, so that the client or the applicant knows how much he's going to be paying in advance, has an understanding of the scope and so forth, and of course he prepares cost estimates for free, and of course picks it up on the backside if we award him the project. We do have options to go elsewhere, but most of the engineering firms, and I've actually worked for some of them, are much, much more expensive to the applicant. Go ahead, Paul.
Do you anticipate that occurring? I was in the session, it was a good session. Do you anticipate that happening on a more regular and quarterly basis?
I hate to spend the money, just like you folks do. I think we're.
It's in your budget, that's why I asked.
Yeah, I'm hoping we don't, I want it to be available in the budget, but I'm hoping we don't spend it. You know, as a professional engineer myself, I've taken it upon myself to do a little bit of the background research to avoid talking to our engineer and so forth, but I have to be very careful on an ethical basis that I don't overstep my professional engineering license and offer advice to the applicant per se. It's a fine line, but in certain cases, we definitely need a outside consulting source to address the issues. And to answer your question, we're gonna use them when necessary. I'm hoping that we can minimize that, because it's expensive to hire outside consultant. It just plain is, whether we get legal services or technical services or any other services. So we know the town's operating on a shoestring budget. Let's see if we can maintain that shoestring. That and the rest of the items are pretty self-explanatory, just standard postage and notices for changes in zoning regulations and other amendments to the site plan and subdivision regulations.
What do you have, if anything, outstanding for technical assistance that may increase your current actual amount?
I don't have anything in particular right now. Typically the.
We do.
What, do we?
I think in the backup, Louise has addressed that we still have another bill. Yep, for Ken Brown to pay.
Oh, we have another
Yeah.
outstanding
Yeah.
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 bill? Okay, I wasn't aware of that one. But, yeah, I mean, he bills us as we proceed, you know, through the events, so I'm not sure what the current amount is. But, I thought you were asking for future projects.
Just in this fiscal year
Yeah.
2016.
Honestly, the only thing I see happening with Kent right now is the possibility of him having to do some work for some of our applicants. And again, that's usually paid for by the
By
applicant.
the applicant.
And why, I assume we assumed the postage for someone that didn't want to pay?
Yeah, the choice was we could fight it out with him through our attorney, which would cost us $250 an hour, or we could pay the $200 bill and call it a day. And between the two choices, I thought paying the bill for the guy was appropriate. We've had litigation problems with that particular applicant in the past. I just didn't want to get into another legal contest with him. So I thought it was the less expensive route by about $50.
Okay, any changes, numbers, or?
Paul, the only one that I think on here we need a revision on was the notices. The last sentence states the board continues to work on improving the zoning ordinances with new amendments, which require the postings of the hearings. The board averages 5 notices per year. Well, if we're at 5 at 75, that's gonna exceed that $200 budget.
Yeah, we've been trying to combine them to minimize those expenses. Again,
So you're good with the 200?
for the moment, you know, if we need more, we'll move some money around in the budget. if we need to. We'd rather ask for what we think we're going to need, and, again, still, minimize it as much as possible.
But I had a question, I don't know if it's gonna end up being something. Anyway, if you did do the $250 an hour and went through it, what would happen if we won the case, and what would happen if we lost the case?
Oh, it wasn't a matter so much of winning or losing. What we would have done was referred them at, we would have then stopped the proceedings, said, oh, you've gotta pay your account, so we cannot hear the application, because we believe as a board that the applicant was liable for that $200, or it was actually slightly less than that. We would then refer it to our attorney. He would draft a letter, charge us now for drafting a letter, send it to the applicant. The applicant would just say, oh no, it's still your fault. We'd go back and forth a few times, and if we have been ordered by the courts to work with this applicant on several occasions. We've been given a bloody nose 3 times effectively with this particular applicant. We're trying to get him off the books if we can do so with a modicum of dignity, really. And that's gonna be very hard with this particular applicant, because he lives for the fight. He's a defrocked attorney. He's also a planning board member in another town, and he just seems to want to litigate everything rather than work through the problems.
Well, he knows where all the loopholes are in your rules of procedure. And so if you don't follow your rules of procedure, he's gonna ding you on that. And that's what he's done in the past.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
we're getting off track on that.
yeah,
The only thing I would caution is setting precedents.
I was very unhappy to do so, but at the time, to move the project along, it seemed like the right thing to do, and it was upon the advice of our attorney to move it along.
Okay, any other questions? Tim, did you have anything?
No.
Any more questions?
No.
Motion
Okay.
to accept is submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is that-
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Joanne, when will we know default? When what? When will we know default budget? I forget when.
Not for a while.
Not till the end.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just working on my spreadsheet this weekend, and I'm like,
So our next person coming in is the library, and they're due at 7:30, so again, I think we'll recess until 7:30 or until the library representative shows up, so that we don't have Ron taping us for half an hour.
We should have a phone number, we can give them a call, and say, hey, you can come in early if you want.
Hey, that's all right. Well, like planning board was here 10 minutes early, so they'll probably be here a few minutes early, but we can take a break.
That's all
I've got
there is.
apparently
Just
Well,
for
half
library,
an
that's it?
hour.
I
Take a
think
couple
I'll just
minutes,
start
yeah.
over because
Call the meeting back to order, please. Huh?
you're waiting.
Oh, that's right, that's right. We were, yes.
We're ready? Okay, Michelle. Hi. Hi. Who would like to talk about the library?
We didn't prepare a speech. Did you read our letter and all that?
Yes, I did. Have you guys all taken a look at it? So, I I guess the question is, the $2,000 additional funds, is that for a specific purpose, or you just, what is the goal there?
So basically, what we're hoping to do is increase our summer hours on Saturdays next year.
Okay.
Typically, we close for the summer, so it would be, we anticipate an increase in the payroll. And we also now have Michelle as the treasurer, and we're gonna be relying more on Carol for some of our bookkeeping. So our professional fees are also gonna be increasing this year. So we're trying to offset a little bit of that.
Okay, and your name?
I'm Dawn Ronayne, sorry, I'm the secretary on the
Okay.
board.
Can we know who you are? I don't know all of you.
Sure. Why don't you go around the
Judy
board
Springer.
here?
Hi, Judy.
She's the budget committee, this is the budget committee members.
Wendy Ute, Natick Freeman.
Paul Terman, Budget Committee.
Tim Johnson, Selectman.
Becky Doyle?
David Lake.
Joanne Deschner.
Do you know us? Do you want us to tell you?
Sure, that would be
Yes,
nice. Please tell us who you are.
There's no quiz at the end, right?
There might be.
Oh, it better be open book.
All
So
right.
you have a library trustees?
Yes.
Okay, so who do we
Yeah,
have?
so, Michelle Pelletier, the treasurer. We did have someone else doing the treasurer, and she was also doing our bookkeeping, but it was just, way too much for a volunteer. So we now have, Carol Romberl doing our bookkeeping, and I just kind of basically, pay the bills.
Okay,
And again, I'm Dawn Ronayne, I'm the secretary.
Debbie Phillips, the chairman.
okay.
My name is Earl Summer. I'm here because of these two, and Ann is my oldest friend. We
Uh-huh.
go back.
So your moral support?
I hope so.
I'm Ann Soini, and I'm the director.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now that we all know each other.
Yes. Let's party.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, how do you guys advertise these events that you've listed in the second paragraph on your letter?
Lately, we've been using Facebook a lot, and we've had a lot of success with it.
Our bigger events will go in the ledger, ones that we're hoping to attract more of a crowd to. And we've also got our sandwich board sign as well, for people to see as they're going by. Our Small Business Saturday event, we send flyers to the elementary school as well, to get a bigger crowd, because it's more of a fundraiser for us.
And the elementary school does that?
No, just, we have connections at the elementary
Oh.
school.
So
it's a way to get,
elementary school?
just a way to get the
business.
information
Wow.
known to more people that might not be on Facebook.
Okay,
It's a shopping event, so we want
Yeah.
people to come see us.
okay,
We do raffles and things to raise money.
I see, okay, thank you.
So it's not like, it's not like a small
Fabulous.
business seminar, it's a fundraiser for you?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I took it as a seminar, as a small business owner, I was ready to sign up, so.
That's
You can
fun.
still come.
And sell your services.
There you go.
Or you could donate something for the raffle.
Hey.
Or maybe you could win our raffle.
Paul?
Yeah, you've, on the last paragraph, pardon me, the third paragraph, you've got some fairly ambitious projects listed for 2017, all of which will look like they'll consume, medium to large amounts of money. How do you expect to pay for those?
Those would be based on withdrawal from the endowment that we have.
Because most of it's capital expenses. We're still trying to get quotes. We're not getting much of a response from lead paint certified painters. I don't know, we've contacted probably 8 and gotten 1 quote. So we're
It's a
trying.
big number, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Eye-popping number. It's an eye-popping number.
It was.
Yeah.
But we'd like to get more quotes. You hate to hire someone on just one quote.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not suggesting you do that, I'm just suggesting
Right,
that.
no, I wasn't suggesting, you were
Yeah.
suggesting.
It's just, lead paint removal is,
I think this is just
Expensive.
painting over it, though.
hmm?
This is just painting over it.
No, you
No.
can't.
Can't do that.
No.
They would
No.
I
actually
thought that
remove
was
it.
what you had to do. No?
No, they
No,
actually
no,
have
no.
to remove,
Remove it.
with
No,
their
you
little,
don't. You
Huge
don't need to
process.
remove it,
Well, we
but
got-
you do need to be licensed
Yeah.
to
Yes.
deal with the paint that's there, but it does not.
Have to be removed. Good to know.
The one quote we got was to remove it. I did talk to a couple people who said that they would like encapsulate it, I guess, they would
Right,
paint
which
over
by
it.
painting over it.
But we didn't hear a number from them or anything, so the only quote we
I'd
got
call
was.
those people,
Yeah.
the removals.
Don't give up, keep
Yeah,
going.
I know.
Track 'em
It's
down.
been several months, so, you know,
Yeah.
we were gonna have it done in the fall, and now it's obviously has to wait till next year.
Mhm.
So maybe I can look at some people that we sometimes recommend in real estate and get you some numbers.
I've tried that, because I work in real estate in Amherst.
And we've contacted.
Several of the people.
Have you tried local pool?
Yes, they're the ones that informed us of the lead. We did get a response from one person in Ringe. We've contacted all of the lead certified painters on the state's website. Again, no responses.
Which side, the state say?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, we got a couple saying, you know, we don't have time for you.
Right.
We had a couple saying, you know, like their email didn't work, whatever. But yeah, it was like 15 of them that we were initially contacted. We heard back from like 8 different people saying, you know, no, we don't have time for you, or they're no longer in business, whatever. So yeah, it's been a long process.
Well, good luck with that.
Oh, yeah. Should have an easier time with the furnace.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so, any other questions? Tim? David?
I just know they put on a wonderful, asset of the e-books.
Very thankful.
I thought you were gonna say you liked the ice cream social.
I don't go to that, but those, audiobooks, I should say,
Yeah,
Take advantage of.
definitely.
Listen, if I'm going to the small business, you're going to the ice cream social.
And Santa, don't forget about Santa.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Joanne, did you have any questions? No?
make a motion to approve a warrant article in the amount of $37,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I think you're all set, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we'll put the warrant article on and see what happens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You didn't say a word. Oh, that's why it's happening.
Just you reading here.
Well, I was happy to do it. I was gonna tell them, like
Did you do the,
TV
cemeteries?
or one of those.
No, not till November 14th.
Motion
Oh,
Second.
Yeah.
I don't know, I didn't-
Aye.
Really good. But they need,
Thank you for coming en masse. It was nice to meet you all, you know, put faces and names together.
sure.
I never saw you before.
You didn't? That's why I'm with Amy. And I go way back.
Good for you.
I knew that.
We gotta do it.
Treat the ground.